Hello, hello, hello. Are you ready to go? Y'all, I told the people in the last session I got a standing desk now. So you getting Floyd and live in color, okay? Y'all, we're gonna jump right into our next session, and I'm so excited because it is by one of my good friends, Dave Raley. We're talking all things sustainable giving in the age of AI, how to leverage AI to grow recurring revenue. And I don't know about you, but we need the recurring dollars, okay? Dave Raley is the founder of Imago Consulting, an advisory firm that helps organizations create growth through innovation. As a speaker and advisor, he's inspired thousands of nonprofit leaders to grow both personally and organizationally. He's the author of The Rise of Sustainable Giving, How the Subscription Economy is Transforming Recurring Giving, and What Nonprofits Can Do to Benefit. Dave also writes a weekly innovation and leadership column called The Wave Report, hosts the Sustainable Giving podcast, and co-founded the Purpose and Profit podcast, a show about the ideas at the intersection of nonprofit causes and for-profit brands. Can y'all help me welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Raley?
Floyd Jones, I cannot believe nobody told me that you were my hype man. So I feel so honored. I love it. Are you ready, everybody? All right, we're going to start with a story. This is a story about a technology that promised to upend the world. People were both excited about this technology, but honestly, a little nervous. They were worried that it would result in people losing jobs, that it might cheapen art and the arts. People were worried about the spread of misinformation and disinformation. People were worried that this technology people would use to take advantage of others. Does anyone want to guess what technology we're talking about? I want to see it in the chat. And no, we're not talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about, drum roll please. Here we go. The pen. There it is, Kelly. Good job. We are talking about the movable type printing press in 1492. Was a very disruptive time in our society. And the reality is that AI is, in some ways, having the same disruptions today, and it's causing the same fears, but also, I would argue it worked out pretty well in the case of the printing press. But I am not making that up, by the way. If you go and do some research, you will see that printing was a scandalous technology back in the day. And so today, I think we have some lessons we can learn from ancient history to apply to our jobs, to our leadership, but also, as Floyd said, to grow sustainable giving. And so today we're going to talk through 5 core ways that we can leverage artificial intelligence to grow sustainable giving. Now, I will warn you, this is going to be a fire hose. We'll have some links, and at the end, I'll have a link so you can download a guide that we've put together. But also, we're going to go right through to the 25-minute mark, and then I'm going to step over to the lounge. So if you want to continue the conversation, more than happy to do that, do some Q&A at that point. So what is one word you're feeling as we get going to describe how you're feeling right now about artificial intelligence? This is a invitation for honesty, empathy, excited, hopeful, overwhelmed, especially on day 2. Who asked this question on day 2 of a summit? So I'm Dave Raley. As Floyd mentioned, I'm blessed to get to author a weekly column called The Wave Report, which is about innovation and trend spotting that leaders can use to improve themselves and their organizations. I'm also the host of the Sustainable Giving podcast and the founder of Imago Consulting, a firm where we work with organizations to grow sustainable recurring giving. And I'm the author this year of The Rise of Sustainable Giving, which is a book, came out in February. It has been such an amazing experience. Did some math the other day. It looks like we've been in front of more than 20,000 nonprofit leaders this year, between the podcast and the book and everything. And it's just been an incredible ride. And it's not, by the way, because anybody knows who I am or my great skill, but honestly, because this is a wave that I think the sector is waking up to and understands that we can take advantage of. And so let's talk about AI and how we can leverage AI to grow sustainable giving. First of all, artificial intelligence is a tool, right? In fact, even that is a misnomer because the truth is, I think we talk about artificial intelligence as this sort of monolithic thing. Do you use AI? I use AI, right? Um, but the reality is, artificial intelligence is really a set of tools. It's a set of technologies and tools that we can use to hopefully do the work that we do. And so, I think as we think about that, one of the most helpful ways I've heard to think about artificial intelligence is at the end of the day, what AI is all about is predicting outcomes. And that is outcomes in the case of fundraising, in the case of recurring giving. Those are absolutely um, things that we can take advantage of. In fact, a friend of mine told me years ago when I first started thinking about and speaking about AI, about a decade ago, believe it or not, was that if you think about technology and AI in the 21st century, if you go back to the 20th century and think about the 1800s, 1900s, technology was really about augmenting human ability. It was about enabling humans to do more, right? So we could plant more crops, we could do math faster, we could, calculate spreadsheets, right? And so, in essence, technology in the 20th century has really been a power tool. But technology in the 21st century, in particular AI as we use it, is much more akin to a coworker. Now, thankfully, you've heard this phrase. I remember, by the way, being at the first fundraising.ai summit a couple of years ago, and we were just trying to figure out, people were just trying to figure out what is AI. But the truth is, technology is a coworker that we can leverage to use to grow our organizations. At the same time, recurring giving has been undergoing a similar transformation. Um, we've got a blueprint that I put together that goes along with the book, and you can go ahead and download that here. We've got a link for you. But the reality is, just like technology is not new, recurring giving is not new. There are two trends that have been transforming the landscape of sustainable giving. First is subscriptions. Subscriptions are everywhere. 95.8% of US adults have a subscription. The average, anyone want to guess what the average US adult has in terms of subscriptions? Um, Shauna. Oh, Shauna, you're cheating. I know you. 12. Good job. And Matt, good job. Good job. So the average US adult has 12 subscriptions. And the average US consumer, when asked how much they spent on subscriptions, by the way, underestimated how much they spent by $133 a month. That's $1,600 a year that the average American is spending on subscriptions. They don't even realize it. By the way, fun fact, 42% of all Americans have forgotten that they were subscribed to a subscription service that they were no longer using. By the way, guess what I was doing this weekend? Calling two subscription services to cancel them. And so it subscriptions are everywhere. At the same time, donor behavior has been changing. 52% of millennials said that they would be more likely to give monthly over a large one-time donation, and fully 49% of all baby boomer and Gen X donors are already enrolled in monthly giving. We also know that recurring donors are the most valuable. Neon One found that the average charity saw growth in recurring giving by 127%. And they retain at higher rates. They have higher long-term value. They're more likely to leave your organization in their estate or gift planning, and they're some of the most generous single gift donors. So we know that donors are more likely to become sustainers or to subscribe to the services or causes they prefer. Altogether, I call that subscription giving. Now, what I'm not saying is we're turning our donors into subscribers, into consumers, but that we can learn lessons from the subscription economy. And that's one of the major things that I wrote about in my book. But you're not here to hear just about subscriptions. You're here to hear how we can use AI as a coworker to grow our sustainable giving. So we're going to talk about 5 core ways that we can leverage AI to grow recurring giving. Hey, Eric, good to see you in the chat. All right, we're going to talk about targeting and segmenting audiences. We're going to talk about freeing up time and capacity. We're going to talk about automating workflows, understanding donors, and drafting or improving creative. And we're going to do that in 14 minutes. So buckle up. So when we think about using AI to target and segment audiences, one of the most boring ways to use AI today that many of you will be familiar with, but I want to make sure to cover is what is called lookalike audiences. Because fundamentally, in fundraising, we're trying to do the old marketing adage, which is get the right message to the right person at the right time in the right channel. And lookalike audiences are one of the core ways, and this is not new. This is something that, for those of you that have been in digital fundraising, you've used this type of technology for years, but it's using machine learning algorithms to identify people that look like the people that we're looking for. And so when we're thinking about sustainable giving, we can take our best sustainable giving donors and we can actually leverage Facebook, Instagram, Microsoft, LinkedIn, maybe even TikTok, to actually say, not just go find me people like people are on my email list, go Facebook and Meta and find people that look like my best donors, my recurring donors. And so we can use lookalike audience building to target and segment. The folks, Tim and Kat and the team at Dataro, are doing some pretty incredible work. And this is just one example of how we can use models to actually target donors. And so I wanted to share a couple examples from the folks at Dataro. First of all, was a campaign they did with the folks at Greenpeace to actually identify donors before they canceled that were most likely to cancel their monthly gift. And what they did was once they identified those individuals, they actually made intervention thank you calls. For those calls that they were able to make, they found that those donors, that cohort of donors, was 2.5 times less likely to cancel their recurring gift. And so ultimately, that saved, as you can see here, 531 at risk donors, which resulted in about $235,000 in gifts. And so we can use companies like Dataro and others to identify individuals that might cancel. Another example from the folks at Dataro is identifying folks that are ready to upgrade or to reactivate and convert. In this particular case, they worked with an organization called the Edinburgh Dog and Cat Home to actually identify individuals to approach with upgrade messaging as well as reactivation and conversion messaging. And in this case, they found that they had 156 donors actually upgrade. One of the things I talk about regularly in sustainable giving is we need to invite our donors to upgrade. My Spotify subscription has gone up in price. Why wouldn't we ask a donor who's been giving faithfully to consider increasing their gift to meet the increased need? So we've got a link here. Thank you, Princey, for dropping that in the chat. To if you'd like to download that from see that information from Dataro. The second way we can use AI to inform sustainable giving is universal, and that is to free up time and capacity. By the way, I do love how every new technology promises to save us so much time, and we're going to just have all this time and we're going to just sit around on the beach. I don't think that's ever happened. But the reality is it does free up time. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of freeing up time. First, calendar management. I'm a huge fan of Calendly. If I have to book another meeting in my life and spend the back and forth of comparing the calendars, then don't sign me up for that. There's also apps like Motion who actually promise to help you to rearrange your calendar, to be able to dynamically manage your calendar. You've got that. You've got transcriptions and summaries. So we're so familiar with those today with our AI meeting attendees. But I'm just going to share a specific example of the way I do it. Every charity, every organization that we work with, and we've worked with 35 charities in the last couple of years. I'm really the lead person with each charity. So every meeting I have with every client that I work with, I leverage AI to help me with not only just the meeting notes, but actually the follow-up, first draft of the next agenda. And I share this as an example that you can tap into for your own organization. And so for me, it's as simple as taking the transcript. I have a standard prompt that I use, and I send that I use that to create the first draft, which then I review, that then I send along to the client, and it's been super helpful. I've had clients say, "Wow, this is better sort of note capture than we could have possibly done." in our old school, trying to talk while trying to think, while trying to take notes at the same time, kind of a thing. And so that's a huge time saver. Okay. The third way we can use artificial intelligence to grow sustainable giving is to automate workflows. I've got a couple examples here that are pretty exciting. The first is, again, maybe a little boring if you've done digital media fundraising, but it's simply automated bidding. Did you know that automated bidding has completely changed the game when it comes to advertising, especially on Facebook? And that is using goal-based bidding to let the algorithm actually be the one optimizing your spend. Now you have to watch that spend. Human supervision is absolutely essential. I can tell you some horror stories of when we let the algorithm run off into a logical conclusion of a goal we set. But there is so much dynamic automated bidding that can happen. And so that's an example of using AI in sustainable giving to actually identify and manage your ad spend on a 24/7, 365 basis. Charity Engine, I saw we dropped the link there. They are our first sustainable giving certified partner, and they have invested heavily in making sustainable giving just a core part of their CRM solution and their donation solutions. And so they actually have a tool that they built called Sustainer IQ that actually leverages AI to in the payment recovery side of things. And so they're able to actually recover anywhere from 20 to 30% of lost monthly donations due to failed payments. The average credit card, by the way, turns over 20 to 25%. Including, by the way, yours truly about a week ago when we saw a very large transaction on our credit card that wasn't us. And now, guess who gets to go and update all of his subscriptions and monthly gifts? And so that is a very real issue in the area of sustainable giving. Well, with artificial intelligence, with tools like Sustainer IQ, then we can use those for payment recovery. Same thing with resubmission logic, as you can see. That really helps optimize getting those transactions that sometimes do fail, and sometimes they're not a final failure to go through. And so you can take a look at what the folks at Charity Engine are doing there. But this is a key area of payment recovery. You can also automate the initial creation for campaigns. This is something that I've been really excited. I've got a client that I'm working with called TCU Wesley. It's a chapter-based organization, college chapter-based organization, and I've been working with them and the folks at Avid to actually pilot out some technology that the folks at Avid had built to use artificial intelligence to actually do campaign fundraising. So what we've done is we've actually taken our Imago proprietary sustainable giving campaign framework. We've actually co-partnered with Avid to build this out into their what's called playbooks function, where you can then develop your strategy. And I'll show you a couple screens here to say, what is our campaign about? What is our core offer? Or do we have any incentives? And what works through about 16 different things that are fundamental to the campaigns that we run with clients. And then utilizing the Avid platform to actually generate assets to be able to actually run the campaign. And so this is an example for this client where in about 15 minutes, the client was able to take the basic essence of their campaign, distill it down, get it into the platform, and generate, as you can see here, 47 different assets from emails, upgrade emails, conversion emails, text messages, landing page copy, homepage copy. And so this is the kind of thing that is absolutely the core part of the future of growing sustainable giving. And I look forward to the day when we can then tailor these messages to the individual donors. But this is very, very solid stuff. And it really gets, the way I think about it, just like I would with any chat GPT, is it gives us the opportunity to create that first draft that then we can improve from there. So it in essence enables campaigns like what you can see here on screen that they're doing right now for a give day that we're working with them on. So incredible opportunity. You can see the link to the case study there. We're on the home stretch here. Number 4 way is to use artificial intelligence to understand donors. One of the biggest things that I talk about in the book and in the Sustainable Giving Blueprint is you've got to talk to donors. There is no technology that can replace the human to human connection and the insights that come from actually talking to donors, understanding what motivates them, what caused them to get involved in the charity in the first place, what is some of their most profound generosity experiences. But the cool thing with tech is we can actually use that to improve what we learn. And so rather than just me, the biased one person taking notes while the person talks, we can record those meetings and we can do multiple things with that. Number one, we can transcribe those. But two, we can move into language and sentiment analysis to understand where did the person get the most animated? What can we learn? What are some of the trends across 30 interviews? I've got a client right now that we're doing 16 interviews over the next week. I want to be able to look at those 16 interviews individually, but I also want to see what are some meta analysis that we can learn across interviews. This used to be technology that was only really available to proprietary research companies. And so we can use that technology to better understand our donors. And then the fifth area where we can use AI to improve sustainable giving is to draft or improve creative. We've already talked about what the folks at TCU Wesley have been doing with Avid and with our campaign strategy to actually grow their recurring giving. But let's also talk about just leveraging a large language model. We use ChatGPT. Some of you might use Claude or Gemini or Copilot. And one of the really powerful things that these large language models can do is if you give it the sort of best ideal core sort of Rosetta Stone asset, like this is our lead email and it explains everything, or this is our campaign brief, to actually use large language models like ChatGPT to generate other resources. So we've written the first email. Would you write the follow-up email? Would you write the accompanying Facebook post or the LinkedIn post? Again, more rapidly generating options and rough drafts for us to be able to work with. Okay. And then we can use tools, again, we might take for granted today, like Grammarly for proofreading, for clarity. Every single thing that I write that I put through, whether it was the book or the weekly wave report, goes through Grammarly and is better because of it. Okay, so that was a fire hose. We are going to move over to the lounge when we wrap here. But if you are interested and you just want to grab, we put together a resource on 12 ways to leverage AI in 2025 and some personal stuff in there, some examples. So if that's something that's interesting to you, you can grab that link. Here are the 12, by the way. It's a little preview there. It's about a 20-page PDF, and we put that together for you. Okay, so let me give you just a few final closing thoughts. First of all, AI is a means, not an end. AI is a set of tools. This is not the solution, but we can leverage AI. Human collaboration is absolutely vital. We have got to keep the humans in the center of the equation, just like the printing press didn't take humans out of the center of the equation, just like other technologies haven't. We've got to keep humans at the center. Sustainable giving is here to stay, and AI will help make it better. So when you're working on your sustainable giving program, when you're thinking about AI, when you're feeling overwhelmed, think back to those people in 1492 who were dealing with a brand new technology that promised to upend the world. And the truth is, it did upend the world, but I would argue for the better. And that's because of humans that invested in themselves and in using it. And so thank you. We'll move over to the lounge in just a minute, but it's been super awesome. This is such an incredible event, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of it.
Dave, that was so good. You broke it all the way down. You gave us a little history lesson. You gave us here we are today, and here we are going tomorrow. Come on, somebody. I love that.
So good to be here, man. So good. And you are cranking. I love it.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Dave. Y'all give it up for Dave in the chat. Some of y'all just told you he got all 12 of the facts. He's gonna break it down even more in the lounge, and you can give him a Q&A. Okay, you can go off mute. You can go and you can actually go on screen. Okay, so join Dave in the lounge. What did I always say? It's going down in the lounge. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, if you love that session as much as I did, and I'm sure you did, leave us some feedback because, of course, we are going to share and spread the word back to Dave and our team. Okay. And again, sustainable giving and AI Q&A with Dave from Imago Consulting, all in the lounge. Go back to the reception as we've been. I think at the end of this, y'all gonna be able to give me the script. Okay, y'all should know the deal by now. Okay, go to the reception, navigate to the lounge, and it is going down. Up next on the Amplify stage. Oh my gosh, y'all. Brian Funk, who's bringing the, come on, Brian. I'm so excited. He don't know, but in my head, he's like my best friend. So I'm gonna tell him in 5 seconds. And Coach Tibi from Proctivated, all talking about closing the gap between insights and action, how AI can help you be more human in donor conversations. And on the innovation stage, smart, safe, and compliant, a practical approach to AI compliance for fundraisers. And on the impact stage, the next era of segmentation, not the current era now, the next era. Come on, somebody, where annual giving meets artificial intelligence. So it's going to be on the impact stage. Y'all know the drill, y'all. View the schedule, go to the bookmarks and section, go to the top right of your screen and bookmark all the sessions that you want to go to, and you will see everything that you want to take in and all the content you want to take in, and you can view it live. Okay, y'all. That's it for now. I'm gonna see y'all in like 3.2 seconds again. All right. Thanks, friends. I'll talk to you soon.